Hi Detroit cricket lovers. This is a DCL talk show on DCL radio. Today is 9:27. Time is 9:04. We have come to an end of our season. End of our season in the sense the final game of the season, which is a big game. The finals of Detroit Cricket League Championship game is happening this weekend on Saturday. Okay. And we all know that one of the two best teams in our league, Gladiators and Knockers, they made it to the finals. And we have our regular analyst Jesse and our analyst another one Imti. Both are very eager to walk us through with their expert inputs to both the teams and how the what are the weak points, strong points of these two teams. And we also have a special guest, Kapil Chaudhari, captain of strikers, joining us today. Okay, let me introduce our analysts and guests first, and then we will straight away jump into the conversation. Okay, welcome to the show, Jesse.
Hey, Jagan, thank you very much, and I welcome all the listeners across the world for one final time. Maybe we would discuss this final match next week also, but this is one of the most important week where it has come to the final stage. One final time, two teams, and I think you said it right. Two best teams of the tournament, on the paper also and talent-wise also, and they've showed it on the ground also. One final time, battle with each other, battle against each other, and win for that reputed trophy, which everybody in this town loves to win, Detroit Cricket League.
Okay, welcome, Imti.
Thanks, Jagan. I would like to welcome all our listeners to this grand DCL talk show for the final this week. I hope all the listeners are eagerly waiting for some good comments and all the inputs for this weekend's final. Welcome to all the listeners.
Our guest of the night, Kapil Chaudhari, captain of strikers. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Jagan. Hey, everyone. And thanks, Jagan, again for having me. I've never done this. I am the newbie here. So Jagan asked me to join at the last moment, and I was, I've been listening to the show whenever I get a chance, and it really brings out the excitement in the league, and I really love listening to it all the time whenever I get a time. So thanks a lot, and I'll try my best to answer any questions that Jagan might have. Thanks again, and welcome.
Just speak to your mind. Whatever your mind says is what we need. And before we get into all these details, one thing I would like to add here is, and I requested champions of last 2 years, like 2017 champions, Indus Thunder's captain Sandeep Gopu, and 2016 champions GLCC captain Samish to join the show, just to give some inputs to the playing teams. Though I say that, inputs, these two teams are not new to finals. Both Gladiators won and Knockers won one time each. Okay. And the funny part is, both the teams in the finals, they beat Pokeries. Okay. Both the teams. And the most funny part, if I want to add some masala to that one, both these games can have a star on that game, because when I say star, there were very controversial umpiring decisions in the finals. So with that, I'll jump into Jesse. Jesse, yeah. How you visualizing this finally going to be?
One thing for sure, I'm almost certain this cannot be a one-sided game. Keeping two things in mind. The two giants battling against each other, that's one, and the occasion. I think the occasion in itself, which is DCL final, I think when you get into these matches, out of those 50 overs, out of two, if you combine two innings, it's a 50-over game. Every team tries to be in a situation from which they can capitalize. Every team tries to be in a position which they can keep them up and have the momentum for the crucial part of the innings, which are the last 5 overs of the innings. If they have wickets in hand, they can score freely which you do not usually do in a finals game for the first 10-15 overs, because back of your mind, it's mental toughness. It's a game of nerves. You start thinking about things that are out of your control, and you do things which you don't want to do, which is out of your character. So I think this has to be a very close game, if not a very close game, that is a last over game, but it will be a game which would be decided in the last few overs, that's for sure. And I think it would come for Glads if they have to win. It has to come, how did they play Deepak and Sandeep? And for Knockers to win, it again has to come, how did Deepak bowl, and how did two players, I would say, Arun and Ganesh, supported the batting lineup, I think, and Milan. I think these 3-4 individuals would decide the fate. I'm just not saying anyone from Glad's team individually, because they, I think, are not a team who rely too much on individual performances. I mean, the advantage Glads have this year is from 1 to 11, they have players who can change the game, and they are not the ones who can change the game in a blink of an eye. They are the players who stays there, who stretches the innings, who I think make use of the conditions in DCL. That is patience, skill. They know how to score those twos, and I think that's my personal opinion. The top order of Glads, I think they are the guys I'm seeing for the last 4-5 years. That if you ask me who can play Deepak most efficiently, I would say it has to be 2 or 3 guys from Glads, because I've seen that firsthand, that they know how to maneuverate Deepak, and then put put your feet on the accelerator on the other bowlers and put pressure. And I think if Glads bat first, that would be their advantage. If Glads bat second, when you have a strong bowling lineup as Knockers have, I think Knockers has an advantage in bowling, and Glads have an advantage in batting. So if Knockers bat first, I think it's advantage Knockers. If Glads bat first, I think it's advantage Glads.
Okay, we will dig deep into, I mean, what happens if some one team bats first and versus the other team. We'll get into that one. And before I go to Imti, we have a caller in 315-200-3750. Welcome to the show. May I know who's that?
Hi Jagan, this is Sandeep.
Hey Sandeep, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show again.
Okay, so
And hello everyone.
Being a defending champion, okay, do you have any inputs to these teams and your prediction? These are the 2 things we need.
I mean, obviously, inputs wise, I don't know, but predictions wise, this is what I'm predicting. Like, whoever wins the toss, I think, according to my view, they'll go for bowling. And the only reason is, if you see from pre-quarters, especially until semis, whoever bats second has won most of the games, except Knockers versus Brownstone, which is, and obviously Pokeries versus Glads. But if Glads scored around 130, I think Pokeries would have a chance. But coming to the point, like, I feel like whoever chases in the final, for especially this year, with the ball being like traveling pretty easily, so I believe they will lift the championship. And other thing is, definitely it would be Knockers bowling versus Glads batting. But the only thing is, if you see the pre-quarters against GLCC versus Knockers, GLCC scored a pretty good total but Knockers, everybody thinks like Knockers is a bowling team, but they have proven like they can chase any big total. So I think you pretty much need to put that as a reminder when you go for the toss. So I know like Knockers have very good bowling compared to Glads, but if you see Glads have a very good batting against a quality bowling. Like if you want Deepak to be the top bowler, obviously there are like Arjun, Ronak and the Amog, and these guys can definitely bat with Deepak's bowling. But what I am thinking in terms of what Glads have to do, I think they have to attack Deepak instead of just playing him. And I know from what I know with you, I'm pretty much sure like they don't want to just hold off onto the balls what Deepak will be bowling. I think they will be keep attacking, and they will play positive as much as possible. And the only danger to them is Arun, Sandeep, and Suyog. These are the three bowlers I suspect would be the more like kind of wicket-taking bowlers for knockers in the final, rather than Deepak, because Deepak, most of them they feel like he will be the wicket-taking bowler, but coming to Glad's batting, I think Deepak will be little like I don't see him giving more runs, but in terms of wickets, I don't think he can take too many wickets against Glad's batting. The only reason is Glads have a better batting in terms of how they are more like familiar to play the fast bowling than the medium pacing. That's exactly what I feel. Nothing offensive about anyone. And coming to knockers batting, obviously Millen, who's being a terrific find, and Millen and Arun Bangera, I think these will be like the top performers I feel in terms of batting. So if you are, I mean, asking me to pick one, I'll pick knockers. The only reason is I think they have both bowling and batting, and if at all knockers, I'm pretty sure if at all they win the toss, they go for bowling. So I assume the same thing with Glads, but Viju can surprise anyone. So I mean, I don't know what Viju is thinking at this moment, but I prefer like whoever wins the toss just go for bowling.
So you think knockers will win this one?
Yeah, that's what my analysis is.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sandeep. Okay, and now I'll go to Imti. Imti, what do you see?
Just before starting, I just want to remind that I will be umpiring this game, so I'll try to keep the comments as generic as possible for this game. Both the teams are like exciting teams. I think the best two teams have made it to the final, so congratulations to both the teams first. And then I see like Jesse covered most of the points when he was describing the teams, but the only thing that I see is like knockers, everybody sees them as a strong bowling unit. Obviously, yes, they have a very strong bowling unit, but I don't think you should underestimate the batting prowess of knockers also. On the other hand, if you see, if there is any weak link in Gladiators lineup, I think it is their bowling. So if you see like the strengths of the team, I think it is batting of Glads versus bowling of knockers for sure. And then if we look at the matchups, I think both the teams have some exciting players in their lineup, and there is no dearth of excellent performers on both the sides. So it is going to be an even contest, I think. And contrary to what the traditional format is, like every time in the big games, people usually win the toss, elect to bat. I think this would be a little different because I'm guessing that the team that wins the toss will elect to bowl in this final. So that is my view of things here.
Okay, I'll go to our guest of the night, Kapil. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so I guess Jesse, Imti, and Sandeep covered a lot. And what I agree that these are the two best teams who have made it to the final. And what I think is, we all know that it's against the best batting lineup against the best bowling lineup. So any side that can make whoever makes the other side more uncomfortable wins the game. So it's the battle between those two, and let's see who gets more uncomfortable and gets put into more uncomfortable situations is going to lose, and the other side is going to win. So it's pretty hard to judge this game, but that's what I think.
See, if you look at semi-finals games in the last at least 4 or 5 years, I have been watching all the games. Never these semi-finals were this dominating. Knockers dominated Brownstone, and Gladiators dominated Pokies. what kind of advantage that will give to these two teams psychologically. If you look at this one, Knockers batted first, scored mere 80, which I thought very less when compared to, especially in a knockout game, and with the kind of ball that we are using, I was I, I was thinking that Brownstone will easily win in what maybe they'll take 20, maximum 20 overs. That's what I was thinking. But to my surprise, they kept on taking. When Deepak, he took a wicket very first ball of the innings, and after that, there is no looking back. So, Jesse, you think that will be there? I mean, that will have any advantage to these teams because they dominated?
Uh, I personally don't think so. Uh, the I mean, it's when no matter how you won the last game, no matter what good things you did in the last game, you wake up in the morning. It's a new day. You have to start fresh. Even if you are 150 not out in a test match, and on the first day and your second day, uh, it is a batsman knows how hard he has to concentrate for first 15-20 minutes to get into his groove and then find his timing again. So and same with the bowlers also. It's not exactly the case that you find your rhythm and your run up and everything on every day. So I think it was good on both teams' part that they dominated their semi-final match, but I don't think it has anything to do with this game when it comes to, especially it being a finals. I think it the slight advantage, I would say, on this aspect would be with knockers. To be that's my personal opinion, is that I think knockers in the knockout phase, especially, have passed a little more difficult and little stern tests than gladiators have done, especially facing the quality bowling, especially facing the tight situations. Uh, Glad won their pre-quarters pretty handsomely, won their quarters pretty handsomely against in quarters against Warriors. Warriors started pretty well, but when they came back, and so they were put under pressure. They were forced to regroup as a team only for a very few moments, and I think lads did well, and Warriors were handicapped with their bowling. So and the resources were not there, so they did not actually uh, face the quality bowling as you would expect in a quarterfinals, and similar in semi-final, I would say. Pokhris, I know they're a quality side, but they are only quality in their batting, to be honest. And in my opinion, their bowling is not deserving to be winners, especially with this particular ball. Either you have to have pace, or you have to have variations, or you have to have quality spinners in your side. Just the dose of medium pace bowling won't do with this bowling, because whoever likes to have the ball in his half is waiting for that pace where he can swing and just measure the bowler where he's pitching. So I don't think Glad's faced a quality bowling lineup in semi-final, whereas knockers had to work out pretty hard in couple of their games in the knockouts, especially against GLCC and Brownstown. You hindsight, you can say that Brownstown won convincingly against knockers won convincingly against Brownstown. They dominated that. But when you score 80 odd runs in the halftime, you can never say that you are going to dominate that game. What brings best out of individuals like Deepak is situations like these. His captain would not even have needed to tell him anything that what I need from you. He's one guy, and bowlers like him thrive on these situations. That I've got 80 on the board. I know my 30 balls how much they matter. I know my team is banking upon me. I know I'm the best in this business. I know I have to deliver for my team to playing this to be playing the finals. I know I have to do this one more time. He delivered. That's what that's what make a team strong. That's what brings the belief in the team that no matter how tough the situation is going to be, we can rattle them down. That's why I say knocker bowling. It's he the guys like Sandeep and Deepak. I think these are the two guys Glads have to be very watchful against. Sandeep said they should attack Deepak, but I somehow feel exactly the opposite. Deepak gets most of his wickets when bowler treat him like just any other bowler. when you try to play those expensive shots, when you try to treat him as an ordinary bowler, that's when he gets his wicket. So I would rather keep him quiet. I would rather keep Sandeep quiet because he's a quality spinner. If I'm thinking that Sandeep to be the same Sandeep I know, he's a quality bowler, and then Glads have to think it as a 15-over game. They can score those 25, 30 runs in those 10 overs of these two quality bowlers, and then think it as a 15-over game, and they have the resources to. I think Glads would like to consider it as a 20-over game, keeping aside Deepak and Sandeep's over or 15-over game, thinking that they can target Suyog, they can target Arun, they can target rest of the bowlers, whoever has to bowl those 5 overs apart from these two guys, because they are gentle medium. I know they have variations. I know they have been successful, but this ball is different. If a batsman is in a mood to swing hard, he can easily measure this pace with this ball. So I think facing tough situations is in favor of knockers because they have lifted themselves in tougher situations, whereas Glads has not had to face those tougher situations as compared to knockers.
Okay, very well said. I have this question for Sandeep. Sandeep,
Yeah, Jagan.
if knockers score 80 runs against Glads, what will happen in the finals?
As I said, whoever chases, stick to my word. I think for 80 against Glad's batting, I think it would be. I know knockers have a pretty good bowling attack, but still, Glads have 11 batsmen to bat, and I can pretty much be aware. I think Glads can easily score that.
Okay. Now let me go to Imti. Imti, the question for you is: if Glad score this same thing 168, and Pokris were able to score nearly 110 runs, okay, and you think with the kind of batting knockers have, will they be able to chase that?
I think definitely huge score like 160 would be very, very hard to chase down, especially in a final where the additional pressure of chasing a huge score is there. But knockers batting lineup can achieve it, but again, it all depends on the top 3 or 4 people, 4 batsmen that needs to set up a good platform, I think. But just to look on paper, I think if you're chasing 160, it is achievable, but it will take a lot of implementation and effort from the batsmen, from knockers.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
No, like I said, it is achievable. Knockers batting lineup is capable of it, but again, it will take a lot of effort, like I said.
Okay. Before I go to Kapil, I think Samish joined here. Welcome to the show, Samish.
Thanks, Jagan.
Okay. I'll come to you in a few minutes, okay? Kapil.
Yeah, Jagan.
Okay. Everybody is saying Glad's bowling lineup is weak. Okay. See, I'll just read out the names here from last game. Okay. Sudhir Paka, Aditya Maraju, Satya Vimal, Amog Bukhare, Munid Ahmad. Out of all these, I have a strong faith that Sudhir Paka can take wickets. Aditya Bombaraju can take wicket. And, Amog Bukhare is a seasoned candidate. So, you think they are really weak on the bowling side?
So, when we say weak, right, they are weaker than, we should say they're weaker than Knocker's bowling lineup, right? Since Knocker is the best. So, they're not weak as in they're the weakest in the league. They're weaker than their opponent. That's what everyone has been saying. Okay. So if Glads bat first, they have to score, let's say, closer to 110 runs. And then they'll be able to defend. But if Knockers bat first, and if they score 90, I think they'll be able to defend that 90 with their bowling lineup.
Okay, that is my last round of. I reserved those for my last round of questions. Okay. Thank you. Answered that one, but again, I'll be asking the same question to you in the next. Okay, and now I'll go to Samish. Samish, your thoughts. Do you have any inputs to these teams, and then give your prediction?
It's actually a very tough one, Jagan, because if you look at it, both teams are exceptionally strong. If you asked me in the beginning of the season, I knew that Glads were going to make a splash because they were adding some of the best players from Bridges. I keep saying Sudhir is one of my favorite players. Then they have Udit, who is an excellent batsman. He has tons of strokes. The only weakness he had was, or at least a couple times I saw him bat, was he used to get out straight at the boundary. But with this ball, that thing is gone, so you don't even have to worry about that. But at the same time, Knockers is an exceptional team. They have so much depth that Puneet comes at 10. That's something. If Puneet clicks in a game, it's game over for a lot of teams. But with Knocker's depth, he's coming in at 9 or 10 sometimes. But I still feel that it's Knocker's game to win because it's a team with the better bowling, so they have to make the things happen, and it's the Glad's game to lose because if they allow Knockers to dictate the terms, they are definitely going to lose this game. So I would suggest they come with a plan and stick to it. There's Deepak, there is Sandeep. They are your bigger threats. You play them out. I think you can. Scoring becomes much easier with other bowlers. But if you don't play these bowlers out, then you have Arun who is bowling well. Then there is Bangera, there is Suyog. They are all very capable bowlers. So if I was Glads, I'd come with a plan. I'd negate Deepak, just see to score 20 runs off his 5 overs and go after the rest of the bowlers. And that's what my plan would be. But I still feel Knockers have to make things happen in this game. If Deepak has an off day, Glads will win the game easily. So, but at the same time, Knockers has the template. They know how to win these games. They won 3 tough games before they got here, so they know how to do it. And Glads, if you ask me, they haven't really faced this kind of bowling so far. So they might have a little tough time adjusting to it.
Okay, I mean, more or less, you and Jesse said the same thing. Okay, and Sandeep said exactly the opposite side. Sandeep wants somebody in gladiators. Rather than playing out those 5 overs of Deepak, just attack him is what he's saying. Of course, that is the style Indus Thunder's play. Okay, they attack.
I was actually talking to Azim some days back, and I told him that with this ball, the par score will soon be 150. So the day isn't far when people will actually go ahead and attack Deepak. But with finals online, and it's just a question of Deepak getting that early breakthrough. If he gets that early breakthrough, you will be a little worried about playing him. That's the only thing. That's the only reason I feel that at least this year you have to play him out. But I personally feel that with the kind of batting we have in the league, the runs are only going to, go higher. We'll see 125 being the lower end of the score in coming years, if you ask me.
Okay, and before I get into our second round of what should be the par score if Glads bat first, what should be the par score if Knockers bat first, I would like to give some stats here. I created a poll in our Facebook, and that was won by Knockers. In the sense, everybody's, more votes for Knockers, and I did the similar thing with some of the captains of our league, and most of the captains, when I asked captains to get information from their teams, they discussed and they sent saying that 60 to 40% of their teams are in favor of Glads, and so close to what I almost sent to everybody except our analysts. It was like Glads have at least five to six teams voting for them, more than knockers. So in our DCL captains, from the captains, it is Glads. From outside on a public forum, it's knockers. So it's going to be very interesting. And if I combine everything, a lot of people are saying Glads are going to win it in a close game. That's what the outcome was. Now, I'll start with this question. What should be the par score if Glads bat first? I'll start with Kapil. Kapil.
Yeah, as I said, Jagan, I think if Glad's bat first, they need to at least score 110, and for them to defend that successfully.
Okay.
Because I think knockers still have, they have good quality players in the who can bat. But then, I think they won't be able to defend anything less than 100.
Okay. So in my opinion, if Glad score 110, I think game is over is what I'm thinking. Okay. Imti.
I kind of echo with Kapil's views here. I think Glads at least need 125 to 130 runs if they bat first. With the bowling lineup that they have, and comparatively they are a stronger batting unit, they need to at least put up 125, 130 if they're batting first.
Okay, Jesse.
Yeah, Jagan. So rather than directly, I'm thinking rather than directly answering this question that you put up, you asked Kapil a little while ago, are Glads a really weak bowling attack? So if and the next question is how much they can defend. So I think that's a relatable thing. So if you named some of the bowlers which Glads have at their disposal, and to add to it, you forgot Taifur Rahman.
Taifur is injured. I think he's not bowling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he bowled against Warriors. He was injured at that time also, and there is Udit also, who is a fantastic bowler. But the thing is, why everyone is saying that they are a little weaker, and why they can have a white or a black day. They can have a off day easily, is the fact that if you would have asked me this question last year, if Glads would have been playing finals, how is their bowling lineup looking? The guys that they are using in their bowling, especially the two names I would take, Satya and Anup. Last time I saw Anup playing with this much passion in this T-ball, in this DCL, was way back in 2014. Last few years, I haven't seen. I mean, you can play your heart out, but still not contribute. That can happen to anyone. But I somehow felt Anup was not 100% into the game whenever he was there with the Glads team. He might have more preferences to leather ball. He might have a down season or two, which would have just bumped his confidence down or whatever with the T-ball, especially. I don't know the reason, but he was not the Anup that I saw for the first time in 2014. This year, when I see Anup both in batting and bowling, especially with the bowling, he looks like a man on a mission. So they have someone who knows how to deliver with in this league and in this situation, and he's at his best also. So that's one tick. Next is Satya. He till last year was very wayward. That's what I felt. I've seen him so many occasions. He would lose control pretty easily. What he would try to do, he might not have been able to do the things in the right way. He had good plans, but he was not able to execute those. This year, his slower ones are the most lethal ones. You have to treat him as a spinner, because the advantage with his bowling is he would bowl those medium deliveries to you and set you up with those slower ones. And the great thing about any slower ball, if you ask any bowler, is the dip that a slower ball has. his dip is actually like a spinner, which makes you draw to the front foot, and then makes you feel that I'm not up to the pitch of the ball, and that makes you do silly things as you would do to a spinner. So I think, and what plus they have is Aditya Bumaraju. He is one bowler who looks like a spinner, but his strength is not actually spinning the ball. His strength is the the areas where he pitches the ball with those flat trajectories. He would pitch the balls in the areas which doesn't give you that slightest of the second as a batsman to decide whether to go front or to go back to play that ball. And that's the time a bowler needs to get through bat and pad, and that's why most of his dismissals are either LBW or bowled. So they are not by any means a weaker bowling lineup, but can Satya, can Anup, can they deliver one more time is my question. Because they have not used Sudhir to the best of his abilities as a bowler in this tournament throughout. Rather, in the knockout, they have not even used him as far as I remember, apart from those couple of overs. And is he a good bowler? Everyone knows how effective he can be with this ball. He did not even have to break a sweat against Warriors in the quarterfinals in batting as well as in bowling. They did not even need him. Udit, he was very rusty when he came to bowl against Warriors. That's the only time I saw him bowling. He was not the Udit I saw a couple of years back. Do they have the backup if Anup, Satya, or Munid have an off day? Munid, I think he's a fantastic bowler. He has good pace, but I don't think he's a one-to-one comparison with the knocker spearhead deeper. If Glads think that one of the pacey option they have is Munid, I don't think they have an answer to what the other team has at their disposal. So my question is, do they really have backup if the guys who have been performing really well till now to fall back to? Is Sudhir tested in this situation in knockouts with this ball? I don't think so. He can deliver, yes, but when you ask a guy to bowl for the very first time in the knockouts, and that too in a final, and the reason is because your premium bowlers who have been delivering till now has not been able to deliver, it adds a lot of pressure. That's one thing. And now coming to your direct question is how much Glass can defend. I think being finals, funny things can happen, but I think Glass have to score 100, 110. If they score anything in excess of 120, 130, I think knockers have to have a special day from Milan. I don't think knockers would be able to chase anything in excess of 120, 125 if Milan fails. So yeah, that's my opinion about it.
Okay, Sandeep, what should be Glad's par score if they bat first?
I mean, it's at least they have to score 125. So that's where I said with this ball we don't know if at all somebody has to chase a good total, but that's why whoever wins the toss, I think they opt to bowl. Especially looking on Glad's point of view, if at all they win the toss, they might bat second. The only reason is they can chase the total with an ease instead of defending. But it all depends on what the game plan and everything is. But yeah, coming to the point, Jagan, 125 would be a great total in any final, even though the ball is hard. But I think if Milan, Bangera, Suyog, I think if these three, one of these, at least two of these three guys click, I think any total they can chase it quite comfortably.
Okay, Samish, same question to you.
Similar answer. I also think that 125, 130 is a safe score for Gladiators. But at the same time, I agree with Jasneet in the sense that Sudhir and Udit would be my primary bowlers. They won't be my backup options. But I'm not sure how the season has gone for them. So they have other bowlers that can defend the total. But I feel I do see knockers chasing 100, 110 because that gives their fringe players, not fringe, they are actually very good players. That gives the chance to Arun and Ganesh to play a long inning. So if Arun and Ganesh play a long inning, they will easily chase a score, which will be around 100, 110. They can easily score. And they need those two guys to play a long innings to chase any score above 100. But when it gets to 120, 130, those are the guys who they need, but they become their weakness because they cannot score as quickly as other people. So that's where I feel that 100, 110 will be easy for knockers to chase, but 125 is when they need some boundary players where they can lose some quick wickets, especially these couple guys, Arun and Ganesh, who can just, they'll take the innings along with any other batsman on the other end.
Okay, now let me reverse the question. If knockers are batting, how much they should score minimum? I'll start with Kapil.
I would say 90 runs, but for them to defend 90 runs, what I also feel like they have to tweak their bowling lineup a little bit, so that we all know that lads, again, they have 11 good players, but there are some game changers, and most of them are in the top orders, right? And what I feel is, as Glad is trying to attack in the top order, I think knockers also need to attack with their best bowlers to try to cut through their top order and try to get into the middle order as quickly as possible. So I think if they score about 90, and if they tweak their bowling lineup to match the tit for tat of Glad's batting, I think they'll be able to defend that.
Okay, Imti.
I think if knockers are batting first, they'll at least need 100 runs on the board. Just like I think 90 to 100 is a very good score with their bowling lineup, but I would say 100 plus is a very comfortable total for their bowling lineup, and that will also give some psychological advantage to them, the 100 plus mark. And with their bowling lineup, if they get some quick early wickets, I think knockers will have the game in their bag.
Jesse.
Yes, see, Jagan, I said earlier into the show that these finals, these crunch games, initially both the teams play safe. I mean, and it is with most of the teams. Unless you are absolutely clear with your plans, you don't have, and you have your backing of your captain, you have the backing of your team that this is the plan we want to execute, be it finals, be it semi-finals, be it a normal league game. We would do what we want to do. So, but if you say what is the safe score, if you ask how much knockers want to score, is meaning how much they score and they feel safe with. I don't think there is any score which can make you feel safe against a batting team like Glads. But what they would think up front when the match starts, and if they get to bat first, that how much we need to score, guys. Let's be practical. Let's put the things into perspective. How much we can score, how much we should score to give our bowling some chance. I think as everyone said, they would start with 100, and if things go in their favor, they would like to push it to 100, 120, 125, because you never know with the batting lineup of Glads. So a safe score, I think, for both the teams would be same if you ask me, because it just takes a couple of good overs, a couple of big hits to transfer the pressure on the bowling side when you are chasing. But at the same time, those couple overs needs a lot of daring from a batting side to go out there and thinking your team is in pressure. Still, you have to hit those huge hits and clear the boundary. So I think my par score for both the teams would be same, because you want to feel safe, you have to score 120 plus. And another point I would like to add is, if I'm not in Glass camp, if I'm not in Knockers camp, if I'm someone who loves cricket, who knows Detroit Cricket League, who want to see a match, who has to buy a ticket to see a match, I would like to see this combination as a spectator. Knockers batting first, scoring, even if they score 60, I would like to see that match, because if they score 60, there would be a different bowling lineup. I would like to see Glads batting, being put under pressure and then score those important runs, because it's easy to score when you're batting first, especially with the batting lineup of Glads. That's my personal observation. You put them under pressure, you make them do silly things, and that's what Knocker want to do. So if I have a spectator, if I'm going to watch the finals, if I have to buy a ticket and see, if what I want as a cricket lover, I want knockers to bat first, put anything in excess of 80, challenge guys, score these runs against our bowling. We have Deepak, we have Sandeep, we have everyone who becomes a stronger bowler than if they are bowling first.
Sandeep.
Yeah, Jagan. So if knockers bat first, I mean, I'll just go with the same around 120, 125. The reason being, if at all Glads gets going, but the only thing I've noticed this year from Glads' batting lineup is, until last year, the openers were like attacking, but I see little difference this year, like Anup and Aditya. Aditya, who's basically a very aggressive batsman, but I don't see him batting like that this year. I don't know what is the reason, or that might be the batting plan. I don't know, but if that is the case, then I think the plan would be like stick at least 6 to 7 overs initially, even though they score 3-4 runs per over. I think their middle order is pretty strong. Arjun, Hardeep, Udit, Ronak, and Taif. I think these 5 would be somewhat, I mean, couple of them would be going for the big shots. But coming to, I mean, knockers, yeah, definitely they have to score 120 plus. Otherwise, even though they have good bowling, but if Glads gets going with, they get a opening partnership of 30, 40 runs, I think the game is theirs.
Okay. Samish, your thoughts?
I would bring it down to 110 just because there is Deepak in the other team. But at the same time, I do know that if Udit goes out early, Glads will be under big pressure. Now, if I was coaching Glads, I'd tell them one main thing is to take Deepak's wicket-taking ball away. If you notice, his most wickets are bowled out for Yorker or LBW in front of the stump, which is a ball coming in. And usually what happens is players are always trying to play on the onside when they are not really settled early in the innings. So I'd say look to play Deepak on off. And actually most of the Glads batsmen, they stand outside leg stump anyway. So they should look to play him on off, look to play Bangera straight, and look to play Sandy on the leg side. If they do these 3 things, they'll score off every bowler.
Okay. Now the time is 9:52. I'll give a small announcement, and then we'll take last word from all the analysts and conclude this show. And Saturday game time is 10:30. At 11 o'clock is what, between 10:30 to 11 o'clock is what game is going to start. And first innings targeted end is at 1 o'clock. After that, lunch, pizza will be served. And then second inning starts after that. Okay. And I welcome everybody to be there and enjoy the game. We have 2 best teams playing, and we have best umpires controlling the game, and all the committee members will be there looking after the requirements and needs of people who are coming there to watch the game. Okay, with that, I'll take last words from our analysts and conclude this show. I'll start with Jesse.
Yeah, my last or closing comment would be, as I said, it has to be a great game. It has to be one of the best games of this season, because if you ask me this question, because I think we started our season of this Detroit Cricket League radio show asking these questions. Who do you think can make it to semifinals or finals? I think all of us had these 2 teams in our semifinal list. So I think everyone knows that they are one of the best teams, and they both are the best teams in their own capacity. They can do great things on their day. So it has to be a great match. It has to be a great contest. It is also a great matchup between the individual players of both the teams. They have played against and with each other for so long now, and it's one more time that they have to fight for this prestigious trophy. And one last thing I would like to say is I, as a cricket lover, would like to see this game, Glads versus Knockers. And as far as skippers or captains are concerned, I would like to see it as Arun versus Satya rather than Sanoj versus Viju.
Very well said. Okay. Imti.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to wish both the teams all the best for this finals, and definitely it will be a very closely contested game, and hopefully this turns out to be the best game of the season. So, all the best to all the teams, and I know all the DCL fraternity is eagerly waiting for the champions of this year, and I hope everybody turns up there and shows support for their favorite team. So, all the best to all the teams, and I wish both the teams to play fair, play hard, and may the best team win. All the best.
Kapil.
Yeah, I would like to congratulate both teams for making the final. They are definitely the best two teams. Now, who will be number one and who will be number two? And it's really exciting to see, and it will be a treat to watch on Saturday. And I just best of luck to both of them, and play hard and play with a great spirit, and like leave everything on the field, and then be friends after that. So again, best of luck to Knockers and Glads, and thanks a lot, Jagan, for having me here, and go DCL.
Sandeep.
Yeah, first of all, good luck to Glads and Knockers for making it to finals, and hope the best team win. All I can say is experience will talk on this Saturday, and I think whoever thinks better will win the cup.
Samish.
Yeah, me too. All the best to both the teams, and I would actually tell both the teams to really plan this game and stick to their plans, because neither of the teams is easy to beat. Again, Arun has done an excellent job. He's the glue in the team in Knockers. He has to make sure he bats long, and same thing with Udit for Glads. He has to make sure that he scores those runs. All the best to both teams, and may the best team win.
Okay, with that.
And Jagan, yeah. just one last thing. Since this is a DCL radio show, so I think we must lend our congratulations to FCC and MCC Miles also for making it to contenders finals, and I wish them all the best. I think they are also playing this weekend, right?
Yes. Actually, yeah, so I must say thanks to you. I thought of talking about that game also. I completely forgot. Thank you.
Yeah. So my best wishes to both the team, and may the best team win. And as one of the finalists in a couple of years back, one thing I can 100% tell everyone here who is going to represent from Glads and Knockers especially is there is no fun being a runner-up side. No one remembers you. You don't remember that. You don't always want to remember that. You rather want to forget that. So if something is on stake, this is the match. Go there, hit the target, get it.
Express yourself. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So before I conclude the show, and I just would like to give some stats here. And total 382 people listen this show, and surprisingly, 95% are from US, 3% from United Arab Emirates, and 2% of this total listeners are from India. Okay. With that, we will conclude tonight's show here. Thanks a lot, Jasneet. Thanks a lot, Imti. Thank you, Kapil. Thank you, Sandeep, Gopu, and thank you, Samish. Good night. Keep listening. DCL Radio will come one more week to conclude DCL Talk Show of 2018. Thanks a lot, guys.